You know, something I think is beautiful about pretty much every video game is that the medium of interactivity means everybody gets to create their own stories alongside the pre-existing narrative, even in super linear games. I mean, I'm not saying Skyward Sword is linear, but there's still a beginning and an end, right? And you have a goal in the narrative. But along the way, you can do plenty of things. And you know, it's different than passive media, because not everybody wants to put in the additional effort to read fan fiction-y stuff into passive media. I like doing that. I like coming up with reasons why things might have happened. I think it's a good mental exercise, but not everybody feels like that. And with video games, you don't really have a choice. With video games, every action you take is canon to the story. To your story, where you play as the character. And with Link and Skyward Sword, you could say it's easier because Link is literally meant to be a link between the game and the player. That's why he's named that, you know, whatever. But it applies to really anything, I think. But my version of Link just happened to stop Beetle's air shop next to a good place to farm rupees. So he's going to do that for like 15 minutes. And that's canon. You can't take that away. That's in Skyward Sword canon now. Sure, it's only in this version of Skyward Sword canon and the vast, expansive multiverse of Zelda canons that exist every time someone has ever played a Zelda game. But in Hyrule Warriors in particular, there's some canon character that must realistically have knowledge of my Link's existence in that time he farmed rupees next to Beetle's air shop for hours. And it's not like, you know, this is the most engaging way to farm rupees. Hell, there are probably even much better ways than this to farm rupees. But I just happened to stop Beetle's air shop here. And there are rupees next to the door that respawn every time I enter and exit. And it's something unique about the way I've experienced the game. I mean, I'm sure other people have farmed this spot before. I cannot possibly be the only person. A lot of people played Skyward Sword. But still, you know, I found this farming spot myself. I found this interaction myself. And the implications it has for the universe are interesting and fun. Like, how do you think Beetle feels that I keep entering his shop and then leaving over and over? Let alone that sometimes I come back in with 300 extra rupees to spend on a wallet or an extra bag. Like, that's gotta be weird, right? Even weirder that his stock somehow changes even after I was just in there a moment ago. Like, did he stop peddling the shop so he could put the item down and then quickly begin peddling again? Does he have some sort of crane in place to replace the items with other items so that way he doesn't run out of stock? When does he restock? Lots of questions brought to life by the way I in particular am playing Skyward Sword. And like I said, this is not the only game you can do this with. Literally every video game with enough interactivity allows for something like this. Like Odin Sphere is a great example. I love Odin Sphere. Amazing game. Even better story. I don't think the remaster looks like as fun to me personally. Probably better for a generalized audience, but aside from that, Odin Sphere, love it. Love the story so much. It's a really dignified, well-told story. But it is told through the lens of a storybook. Like, there's a narrative framing device and it's a storybook. There's a little girl reading a storybook the whole time. And there's a part in the game where I spent 6 hours grinding carrots so I could make food to give myself the maximum experience boost. And you just know, in that book the little girl is reading, it describes in detail that time that Gwendolyn ate carrots and farmed carrots for carrot soup for 6 hours straight. Like, that's in the book. That's canon. That little girl had to read through that to get to the good stuff, just like I had to play through that to get to the good stuff. I mean, you don't have to grind. With enough elbow grease, I'm sure you could just play through the main story levels, but I didn't feel like it. I felt like grinding instead. And that's why video games, one of the many reasons video games are beautiful, I think.